Okay, in this problem, we need to simplify these expressions. But in the answer, we don't want parentheses, we don't want negative exponents. In order to solve these problems, we need to remember these exponent rules. So we need to remember when we add exponents, when we subtract, when we multiply them, when we distribute them. The zeroth exponent, how to deal with it. Any number raised to the zeroth exponent is 1, except for 0. 0 to the zeroth power is undefined. How to deal with a negative exponent? As you see, we make it as a fraction, 1 over a to the exponent. We change it to a positive exponent. And finally, the fractional exponent, how that can be changed into a radical. Okay, so here in part A, the entire thing is raised to the zeroth power. As we see here, zeroth power. And with the zero exponent rule, any term raised to the zeroth power is 1, except for 0. So the answer is just 1. In part B, here we multiply 25. First, let's start with 25 to 1/2. So according to this rule, 25 to 1/2 will be 25 1/2. It will be the root 25 here, 1 over 2. But as we know, when we have the index here is 2, this is the square root, so we don't need to write it. So it is 25. Also, the first power, we know we don't need to write that, so this is just 5. So in part B, 25 to 1/2, this is just 5x to the 5th multiplied by 4x to the negative 6. And we don't need these parentheses here. We can remove them because there is no upfront term to distribute or something like that. So the parentheses, we don't need them. Basically, we multiply the numbers. 5 times 4, this is 20. And we have x to the 5th multiplied by x to the negative 6. And in this case, we remember the product rule. As you see, when you multiply, we have the same base, basically. When you have a to the x, a is called the base. X is called the exponent. Oh, sorry. Okay, when we have the same base, a, we add the exponents. And yes, here we have the same base. We have x. So we add these exponents. So x to 5 plus negative 6. So it is 20, x to negative 1. But we don't want to see negative exponents. So we look at the negative exponent rule. In order to change a negative exponent into a positive exponent, we make it 20 1 over x to the 1. And here this is 20 over 1, so we have a fraction multiplied by another fraction, so this is 20 over x. In part C, as we see here, we have a negative exponent, and again we look at the negative exponent rule, this rule. So it will be 5 and then 1, sorry about that. 1 over t cube. We change the exponent into positive, but 5, it is 5 over 1, so we multiply the top by the top and the bottom by the bottom, so 5 over t cubed. And finally, d. When we have parentheses and we have exponent, we should distribute this exponent to each term inside the parentheses. This is rule this is the power rule of a product, the power of a product rule. Also the power of a fraction rule. So, I mean, if there are terms inside parentheses, and we have exponent. The exponent is distributed to each one of them. Same thing when you have a fraction inside inside parentheses, and there is an exponent, we distribute the exponent to the top and the bottom. So here, this exponent 1/3 should be distributed to each one of these. So basically, in D, we have x to the 7, and we have 1/3, y to the 3rd power, and we have 1/3 as well. I'm distributing the exponent and the x to 1/3. And now we need to look at the power rule. When we have an exponent raised to another exponent, we multiply them. So basically 7 will be multiplied by 1/3. 3 will be multiplied by 1/3 here. So 7 times 1/3, 7 times 1/3 is 7/1. We multiply the tops, we multiply the bottoms. So basically it is x to 7/3. And same thing with y, 3 times 1/3, 3 times 1/3. We multiply the top by the top, 3/3. The answer is 1. So y to the 1st power, but I don't need to write 1. Y to the 1st power is just y. And x 1/3. So now the exponent has been distributed to the tops and to the bottom. And now when we have division, look at the quotient rule. A to the x divided by a to the y, we subtract the exponent. There is another way of writing the quotient rule, a to the x divided by a to the y. So this is a to the x minus y. So once you see division, and still we have the same base, a in the top and a in the bottom, in this case, we subtract the exponents. So it will be x 7/3 minus 1/3, and still we have y here. We subtract, so it will be x to the 6/3 y, and this will be x squared y.